Hi, I'm Logan Reedy. I'm your area coordinator for student life, and you're watching Titantown Sports.
We welcome you back to Titantown Studios for Titantown Sports. Ben Kelly and Jordan Tate with you all the way through this afternoon. Jordan, we got a big week here going on in Titantown.
Absolutely, Ben. I'm excited to be here today. We have a lot of great segments. Some segments I'm super excited to see are the PAC Basketball Recap, what we saw from the quarterfinal round, men's and women's. On top of that, Wilmington and Kennedy girls basketball, a little bit of a rivalry there. I'm excited to see that story, but Ben, I think the main one that kind of broke camps a little bit was Coach Scott Benzel, head football coach of Westminster College here, took a job offer at Duke University, a great position. Super excited to see what he has in the future. Ben, do you want to tell us what he had to say about that?
No doubt, after 12 seasons at the helm for Westminster, Jordan, Coach Benzel said, "I want to thank the Westminster community for all the support given to me and my family over our 12 seasons. Being part of the Titan football tradition has been truly special. Westminster will forever be a part of us, and I'm excited to watch the continued success of the program and the standard that Titan football demands." Coach Benzel, obviously a friend of the show, had 12 great seasons at Westminster, 2 PAC championships, a plethora of postseason success. He'll be greatly missed, but best of luck to coach at Duke.
Absolutely, and again with that, joining Manny Diaz as coaching staff, I'm excited to see what the Blue Devils can do in the coming seasons with Coach Benzel on their coaching staff. But let's take a quick look at some of the reactions to Coach Benzel's departure.
Yeah, I think we were all surprised. Coach Benzel's been here 12 years, has had an amazing record. He's done an amazing job building a culture here. And so, I think when you talk about the culture, there's a family feel. And so, the moment someone is taking another opportunity, it's a bittersweet moment. It hurts in the moment, but you know that it's something better for him. So, we were all excited for him. His record speaks for itself. We've had some Hall of Fame coaches here at Westminster. The tradition's unbelievable here. And, Coach Benzel puts his name right up there. What he's done for this program. I know the first year, I believe they're 4-6. Since then, 11 straight winning seasons. This team competes for a conference championship each and every year. The standard that we have here, especially from the defensive side of the ball, which is what he specialized in, has really made its mark in this conference. When you play Westminster football, you're getting a tough, gritty team. I think a lot of people understand his situation of where he lives, having to drive for 12 years straight to get here, staying away from family during certain nights. He's been dedicated to this program, and he's given a lot to this school and these student athletes. And so, again, he's going to be missed, but his dedication, his honesty, and then, to me, just the friendship that we built this last year.
That was new interim head coach for Westminster, Coach EJ White. He's entering his second year with Westminster. Jordan, he led the Titans to the second best offense in the PAC, averaging 37 points per game. Titans have started a national search for the new head coach, but our Tom Rook caught up with some Titan personnel, quarterbacks and Sean O'Shea, some new safeties as well, to get their proper reaction on what Coach Benzel's departure is feeling like and really what they're going to miss the most about his presence.
Yes, we had a team meeting yesterday. My instant reaction was definitely a wave of shock and a mixture of sadness, but super excited for the opportunity for him and what's ahead for him. I don't think it's something he could pass up, and just knowing and growing to learn who he is, I was very happy and could tell it meant a lot to him. So I could never be mad about it.
When I heard Coach Benzel going to Duke, I was very, I was sad, but I was happy for him at the same time. It's a great position at Duke. So yeah, he's going on bigger, better things. So yeah, I was very shocked, but it is what it is.
Instant reaction, it's kind of like surreal. Kind of just sit there for a second and think about it. But at the end of the day, it's a profession. I'm happy for him. You get in this type of business for opportunities that comes with it. So that instant reaction was just kind of like I had to sit there and kind of think about it and let it sink in for a second. He's been there ever since I was here and afterwards. So he becomes family. So it's the crazy part about it, but it's nice to be able to know that he's moving on to something better.
Coach Scott Benzel led the Titans to back-to-back conference championships at the start of the decade. Despite all the postseason success, players and personnel said they would miss the moments right before the game most with head coach Scott Benzel.
I'll go a little broad on this. I think it's his halftime speeches?
With Coach Benzel, I'm gonna miss his speeches in the locker room. You know, they're very motivational.
A lot of favorite memories with my guy, but I probably have to say each day before our game days, you know, we're all getting ready for the game. He comes in and he'll give a speech, and like his speeches aren't just like any other speech, you know, that comes from the heart. And I don't think nobody can give a speech as good as he can.
You guys going out here and laying down a shutout is expected. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to make plays. You're supposed to intimidate people. You're supposed to hit people. You're supposed to make this team want to quit.
Obviously, he's a great leader for young kids, like he says. He says he has a PhD in 18 to 22-year-olds, and that's very true. But honestly, it's that he's a real person. He's not always going to tell you what you want to hear, but he'll tell you what you need to hear, and that's just because he wants what's best for you.
Coach Benzel going to be deeply missed here around Westminster College. The third most winningest coach in football history, Ben, at Westminster College with 85 total wins. Again, going to be super missed, but enough football talk. Let's take it over to the hardwood. A lot of basketball action this week, especially in the quarterfinal matchup round.
Yeah, absolutely. All 8 teams in the men's and the women's had a great season, and we had a lot of good games as well, Jordan. Westminster, no strangers to that. So let's go over to Jacob Rhodes with a PAC quarterfinal recap.
Welcome back to the PAC recap of the quarterfinal playoff matchup, starting off with W&J hosting Geneva. 47-36 lead at half for W&J. They shut off the water in the second half, holding Geneva to just 19 points. The President Big Three of Stelany Lucian, Riley DeRubo, and Katie Kowalczyk accounted for 59 of W&J's 80 points in their 80-55 win over the Golden Tornadoes. W&J will host the winner of this matchup between Chatham and Grove City, the number 1 in the north and the number 4 in the south. Chatham would turn it up in the fourth, outscoring the Wolverines 23-13. Madison Naru led with 16 points and 6 steals, while Hannah Chenault and Alyssa Lockus both had double-doubles. Chatham moves on as they best Grove City 57-50. The Allegheny Gators, winners of 3 straight going into the postseason, hosting Bethany, who lost 3 of their last 4 coming into the Wise Center. You see Lindsey Garrison a step back 3 there. The Bison would gather momentum, knocking off Allegheny in the first round. Lindsey Garrison would pace the Bison with 19 points. Meanwhile, for the Gators, Isabella Antonacci would lead the game with 20. Final score in this one going to be 65-55. The Bison move on. Now to the last quarterfinal matchup, where the biggest underdog going into the playoffs, who lost 73-39 to this number 1 seeded Bearcat team, the Westminster Titans, gave the top seed a scare. Westminster kept it close the entire game, being down just 1 with less than a minute, but St. Vincent would hold on to advance. The Bearcats dominated the offensive glass, winning it 14-5. A balanced scoring attack saw 5 Titans finish with 7+ points. Katie Grexa and Grace Kano both in double figures. For the St. Vincent Bearcats, a 17-point, 13-rebound double-double from Emerson Peffer off the bench fueled the Bearcats' victory. St. Vincent gets it done over the Westminster Titans 61-57. A lot of mirror matchups on the men's side. W&J hosting a scrappy Geneva team. A 52-point second-half performance would allow W&J to coast in this one. Their press would pay dividends, forcing 23 Geneva turnovers. 9 Presidents finished with at least 1 steal. Alex Acosta led the game for W&J with 16 points, while Cameron Rowell added 15 off the bench. Geneva was led by Tommy Coletti with 17. W&J moves on 85-59. Back to Meadville, where the PAC Player of the Year favorite Sawyer Butler and his Barons are in town. But Ryan Lang wanted to make sure Franciscan earned this one. A team-high 17 points for Allegheny. A back-and-forth game, 6 ties and 8 lead changes, but when the final buzzer sounded, it was the aforementioned Butler and Franciscan moving on. Butler and Zach Oliver combined for 44 in Franciscan's 66-62 victory. Grove City would come out fast, leading 19-9 halfway through the first. Chatham weathered the storm and outscored the Wolverines 60-41 from that point on. Reigning PAC Player of the Year Dion Pinkett paced the Cougars with 16 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, and 7 steals. Grove City was led by Kyle Randall and Austin Johncore, both with 15. You see Levinson and Xavier getting it out, and it's jam time over in Pittsburgh. Chatham moves on 69-60. Lastly, to New Wilmington, where the top-seeded Titans host St. Vincent. The prior game, a nail-biter, St. Vincent would come back down 16 to force OT in that one before the Titans would secure the win in extra time. In this game, Westminster jumped out to a 42-27 lead in the first and would lead by 12 with 4 minutes to go. A few short minutes later, the Titans would lead by only 3 until the biggest play of the night. DJ Harrell driving in off of Dev Ostrowski, kicking it, finding Trey DePietro to hit the dagger from the top of the key, the biggest 3 of his career to secure a Westminster victory. DJ Harrell would finish with 26, while Jaden Gales of St. Vincent had 20 and 12. Westminster is set to host head coach David Richards' former Chatham Cougars in the semifinals, set to take place February 27th at 7 p.m. Titans survive and advance 80-76.
Whole lot of action across the PAC quarterfinal. Jordan, again, all great games across the bracket.
Yeah, absolutely, Ben. We know the Titans obviously got their big win. They host Chatham tonight at 7 p.m. But let's take a look at the men's side of the bracket.
That's right, Jordan. It was W&J, and they'll host Franciscan. W&J has the home court advantage all the way through, so if they win on Thursday, they will host the championship. Westminster hosting Chatham. That is a storybook semifinal, obviously. A lot of coverage with David Richards and his former team, no doubt. Again, Westminster and Chatham Thursday at 7 o'clock. Winner moves on to the championship to face either W&J or Franciscan.
Quite the story we have this year. Dave Richards in his first season taking his team to the semifinals. Hopefully, again, they get to the PAC championship. But is DJ Harrell really standing out? Had 26 points in their matchup against St. Vincent. Went 10 for 10 from the free throw line. Really just playing lights out, Ben. Yeah,
he's been electric for the Titans all year. One of the star players in the PAC, second in the PAC in total points, trailing behind Franciscan Soybo, who we just saw have a great game. RJ Scott caught up with DJ Harrell and Coach Richards following the big win at St. Vincent.
DJ, a lot of points. I don't know exactly your stat line, but another big game from you, another big game situation, close one at the end. What made you stay composed?
Really just standing in the gym. I've been working on my free throws lately for the past week. So, you know, especially Coach being on me about free throws and, you know, some of my teammates. So, you know.
And one thing that really stood out to me, when Drew Weir got taken out the game, all you guys stayed composed. Is that just from experience, leadership? What is that ultimately from the team seeing that, staying poised and staying focused to close out this game? That was huge.
Oh, absolutely. That's the leadership from our team, 1 through 15, you know what I mean? I feel like we built for this. The way we practice just gets us ready for these type of games.
And first playoff game as a Titan, another one to go. How did it feel tonight coming into this game? What was the overall atmosphere for you coming into this game, especially against a very good St. Vincent team coached by DP Harris, one of the better coaches in D3? What was that overall atmosphere for you?
Feels great. I'm glad the fans got to come out. It was a big crowd tonight. And, you know, I just feel like it's a ring type of year. So, you know, next one Thursday, right? So, you know.
Well, keep scoring 26 points a game. I mean, you'll get a ring no time soon. And Coach Richards, congratulations for you as a Titan alumni, first playoff win, amazing season so far. What does it take?
Keep stacking days, right? That's what we've been talking about since day one. Continue to have good days, right? And then you're ready to play. Like, you know, we had a ton of guys in foul trouble today, and our bench stepped up and made great plays. Trevor was great. Skev was great. Anthony Bruce was awesome off the bench. You know, when it's next man up, they produce.
And I was just going to ask you about Anthony Bruce and Trevor Sifke, and Skev was coming off the bench. Putting trust in a big game like this against guys that aren't no slouches, because they were putting guys in, but they were keeping those starters in for most of the game. What type of confidence does that take as a coach?
They show it in practice, right? They practice well, so they're prepared for games, right? If you practice well and prepare well, you'll be good for games.
And I don't know who the opponent is next, obviously, but just next week, another week, another season, obviously. What do we expect, I guess, from you from this week?
Just another good day tomorrow. Get ready for Thursday.
All right, Coach. Thank you so much. Congratulations, EJ. Congratulations, Coach Richards. Thank you so much. Enjoy the victory. RJ Scott with player of the game, DJ Harrell, and Coach Dave Richards after Westminster takes down St. Vincent at home. Again, they play on Thursday night at 7 o'clock. That one's on WCN, WCNlive.com, and simulcast onto Titan Radio and TitanRadioLive.com live at 6:45, Jordan.
Absolutely, Ben. And enough of the men's. Let's take a look at the women's side of the bracket for the PAC Championship. We saw Grove City fall to Chatham. So Chatham will face off against W&J, who defeated Geneva. That is tonight. And then we have Bethany, who defeated Allegheny, and St. Vincent over the Titans. That is what the matchup looks for the PAC semifinal matchup, Ben. But it's going to be a great one. I think there's going to be a lot of action in these next couple of matchups. I'm excited to see it, but unfortunately, the Westminster College women's basketball season has officially ended, and as we see some highlights throughout the rest of the season, the Titans finished 9-17 overall and 6-10 in the President's Athletic Conference play, ending their year with a 61-57 loss to St. Vincent in the PAC quarterfinals. Westminster kept it close and fought hard down the stretch, but just came up short in the final minutes. On the stat sheet this year, junior Grace Cana was the team's leading scorer, pouring in 11.5 points per game while shooting over 50% from the field. Sophomore Katie Mario was Westminster's top three-point shooter, connecting on 63 triples on the season, giving the Titans consistent perimeter scoring. Down low, it was Katie Grexa who led the team on boards, averaging 7 rebounds per game, and provided scoring and defense throughout the campaign. Other contributors included Maddie Syka, who added solid scoring and defense, and Bella Calcamugio, who stepped up in multiple games with big minutes and timely baskets. As a team, Westminster averaged 59 points per game, showing improvement in scoring balance and keeping many league games competitive. While the season didn't end in a deep playoff run like many hoped for, this group showed resilience, fought through a tough PAC slate, and set a foundation to build for the next years to come.
Yeah, Jordan, a lot to be proud of if you're a Titan fan. Those girls showed nothing but fight, and a lot of optimism as well. Only one senior graduate, and that is Angelina Ukiagu. A lot of returning players, hopefully, for the Westminster Titans as we look forward into the rest of the PAC playoffs. Into the PAC championships now for the swimming and diving team led by sophomore swimmer Jack Katigback for Westminster. Let's see how the Titans did. Brayden Thimmons has the full coverage of the PAC swimming and diving championship.
The PAC Swimming and Diving Championships concluded this past weekend at Grove City College, and it was another standout weekend of action for the league's swimmers and divers. On the men's side, Grove City College once again proved dominant, winning their 8th straight PAC Men's Swimming and Diving Championship with 1,063 points. The women for Grove City also captured the 2026 title, also scoring over 1,000 points. This past weekend, the Westminster women finished 3rd overall in the PAC standings. Maddie McClain had herself a day with 2 first-place finishes, one in the 500-yard free and one in the 1650-yard free. She had 3 third-place finishes as well, one of those coming in the 500-yard freestyle and then 2 of them in the 400-yard IM. And to cap off a successful season, head coach Todd Slobodiak got the 2026 Head Coach of the Year award in women's swimming and diving in the PAC. As we transition over to the men's side of the championships, the Titans finished in 5th place in the final PAC standings. Jack Katigback was the one to look out for during this meet. He had a 2nd place finish in the 200-yard backstroke, and a 100-yard backstroke where he finished 3rd, and another 100-yard backstroke where he finished 4th. The men will finish their season with a 235-point performance at the PAC Championships. The championships featured rising stars, record-setting swims, and deep performances across the league. Grove City left as the conference's standard bearer on both the men's and women's sides, while Westminster Titans demonstrated grit, depth, and regional potential heading into the offseason. I'm Brayden Thimmons, and we'll send it back to the desk.
Yeah, a lot of excitement to look for the track and field championship preview there. Westminster selected 3rd in the premium pole bench, so hopefully they capture the winning spot for the track and field championships.
That's right. The Titan men selected 3rd before the starting gun fires. The Grove City Wolverines slated to finish 1st in both the men's and the women's, with the Titan women slated to finish 4th in the pre-championship poll for pre-meet track and field championship. Overall, that starting gun goes off on Thursday. Seth Carroll caught up with the track and field team ahead of the meet to see how they're feeling. Get a full preview of the PAC Track and Field Championship.
Let's get into the PAC Indoor Track and Field Championship Preview. The Westminster Titans are set to compete at the Watson and Trestle training site at Youngstown State, with their sights locked in on both team titles and individual titles. Starting with the men's squad, Westminster is bringing 33 competitors into the championship meet, youth and firepower across multiple events. Leading the way for the Titans, sophomore Ryland Dye looks to defend his dominance in the high jump and bring home another 1st place. In the throws category, junior Kyle Crown enters the meet seated 4th in the shot put, positioning himself as a serious contender for the top spot. And on the track, junior Jake Mull is aiming for redemption in the 60-meter hurdles after finishing 3rd last season. Now let's hear from Jake Mull on how he has taken the next step as an athlete since freshman year.
My biggest thing was grow more mature throughout the years. Like when I came here as a freshman, I wanted to do everything. I wanted to do 200, 100, hurdles, long jump, all the relays and everything. So I was more of a jack of all trades, and I wasn't scoring high in anything. And now that I focus on just hurdles and long jump and the relays, improving on my standings in the PAC, and I'm scoring a lot more points, so becoming a master at my individual events is a lot better now.
The women's squad will be bringing 36 competitors to the indoor championships. Leading the charge is senior Shelby Rambo, who will be a name to watch in multiple events. She's aiming for podium finishes in the shot put, weight throw, and even the 60-meter hurdles. On the track, junior Jenna Zendron will look to make her mark in the sprint events, bringing momentum into the championship. In the field, senior Madison Traharn is ready for a statement performance in the pole vault, with her sights set on gold in her final indoor PAC championship. Up next, Madison Traharn shares how she's getting ready for PACs and reflects on her senior season.
I'm preparing for PACs by staying consistent and trusting my training, trusting that all my hard work will pay off, staying in the system, believing in my technique, and going out and doing what I do best.
The women's team captured the Indoor PAC Championship in 2024, while the men last claimed the title in 2022. Now both squads are hungry to bring the title back home this season. For Titantown Sports, I'm Seth Carroll.
And Ben, I think we all have to tip our caps to track and field athletes. I personally don't think I could ever do half the things to do with all the running, sprinting, and jumping, especially the pole vaulting. That is one of my personal scariest competitions I believe you could do, just because I feel like on the way down, it would scare me too much of getting hit by the actual pole.
I was going to say, it comes right, you got to throw it away from me. I'd be bad at that. I had a buddy actually win the Ontario Provincial Championships in pole vault because he was the only one that was going to compete. No other Ontario pole vaulter. So Nathan, if you're watching, buddy, congratulations on your gold medal by default. But good on him. And hopefully a lot of gold medals on the Titan side of things as well. A lot of excitement going into the PAC Track and Field Championship. Always a formidable team.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are actually able to catch up with Ethan Kurtz, who is looking into the basketball high school playoffs with view from the tower.
I'm Ethan Kurtz, currently outside of Old Main here on the Westminster College campus, the perfect spot for a view over the high school sports landscape in Lawrence and Mercer counties. With playoff basketball action ramping up, let's get right into it. Last Thursday, Corey faced Mercer at Meadville in the boys D10 Class 3A semifinals. Tristan McCracken dropped 24 points for the Mustangs, but it's Corey that win it 66-61, heading to their third D10 title game in program history and their first since 2002. Clairton avenged a loss from earlier in the season to Neshannock in D7 2A quarterfinal action on Thursday. Brandon Murphy posted a game-high 20 points in the 51-36 win to give Clairton its first semifinal appearance since 2013. In D7 6A, Newcastle squared off with Mount Lebanon in the Whippeal quarterfinals, with the Hurricanes looking for their 15th appearance in the semis in the last 16 years. Marino Graham's 18 and Kai Cox's 17 lead the way for Nika High as they win it 67-49. For the fifth straight year, Union girls are headed to the D7 1A semis after pulling away in the second half to win 50-35 over West Green. In boys D10 2A, Keith Covert continues his excellent campaign with 24 points en route to a 58-32 Greenville win over Lakeview. Staying in Class 2A of D10, Sharpsville and Sagertown traveled to Meadville. Lincoln Bright poured in 14 for Sharpsville, but Luke Young of Sagertown stole the show with 18 of his own, including his 1,000th point. Sagertown rolled past Sharpsville 66-41. Over to 4A and D10, Sharon met Gerard at Farrell in a scrappy battle that went down to the wire. Behind 14 from Kylene Smith and 9 from Cedric Boyd, the Tigers advance 39-31. Keeping it in Quad A, Hickory's Kyler Slevin continued to be the power behind the Hornets' engine, notching 19 points en route to a comfortable win over Harbor Creek. Ashton Bowl added 13 and Trevor Borowitz added 12 of his own as Hickory advanced to the semis in D10, 70-51. In a heavyweight matchup that couldn't stop being talked about, South Allegheny and Mohawk's Whippeal Class 3A quarterfinals saw 16 lead changes in a second-half thriller. Mohawk, on a 21-game win streak, was backed by 2,000-plus point scorer Bobby Fadden, who dropped 30. On the other side, it was Drew Cook for South Allegheny that caught headlines, now just 33 points away from 2,000 of his own. With under 10 to go, this putback from Cook gives the Glads a 64-63 advantage as South Allegheny pull out an unbelievable upset over the one-seeded Warriors. One-seed Neshannock continues to prove their excellence on the girls' side. Up 31-5 after the first quarter, the Lancers remain dominant and knock off Laurel 67-29 en route to a return to the Whippeal 2A semifinals. 9-seeded Sagertown met the number 1 seed Kennedy Catholic at Farrell in D10 2A girls action. Despite a strong showing in the first quarter from Sagertown, KC stay hot through all 4 quarters en route to an 87-22 domination over the Panthers. Bella Magestro knocked down 6 threes and tallied 41 points, while Tori Harvey followed right behind with 30 of her own. In more D10 2A quarterfinal excitement, Mercer's Carly Eckathorn posted 19 points with 4 triples. Sharpsville's Ellie Baker and Kenlyn Masters each had 6, but it was Mercer that eased by the Blue Devils 44-28. Wilmington and Maplewood was the next D10 2A quarterfinal, and Maplewood did not make things easy on the Hounds. At the end of the third, Wilmington led 31-25, but used an explosive fourth quarter where they outscored Maplewood 20-3 en route to a 51-28 win. Reese Bruckner and Alyssa Flick added on to phenomenal senior seasons, with Bruckner notching 25 and Flick tallying all 15 of hers on 5 threes. In the last 2A quarterfinal in D10, we saw Lakeview square off with Union City. Tied 43-43 after 4 periods, extra hoops was needed as the game headed to OT. The Sailors saw their ship sunk in overtime as Union City pulled off the win 52-47. On to 3A, Greenville faced Eisenhower. The Eisenhower defense was strong, holding the Trojans scoreless for over 8 minutes in the first half en route to a scare-free 66-35 triumph. Oil City and Slippery Rock girls met in 4A of D10, where Oil City was looking for vengeance. The Rockets won the prior contest 70-39 against Oil City, but this time was much different. Low scoring down to the wire, Riel Jordan's 17 points led the game as Slippery Rock squeaked by 38-36. In the WPIAL Single A girls semifinals, Union were downed by Sarah Catholic 49-36, who are headed to the WPIAL championship game. Newcastle played again Monday against Central Catholic in the WPIAL D7 6A semis. In another Game of the Year contender, Marino Graham led the Hurricane score sheet with 19 points, but it's Damian Harrison whose name will be synonymous with victory, putting home the N1 finish to lift Newcastle to an unforgettable 52-49 triumph. Finally, on Tuesday, more seasons continued and concluded across boys D10 and girls D7. West Middlesex topped Kennedy Catholic in boys 59-53. Greenville fell to Mercyhurst Prep 85-56. Warren's Cinderella run comes to a close as Sharon edges the Dragons 64-56. Hickory will play for third in D10 after a tough 95-69 defeat to Cathedral Prep, and the Shannock girls keep rolling with a 73-24 win over Rochester. That's all in this edition of View from the Tower. I'm Ethan Kurtz for WCN's Titantown Sports.
A lot of great stuff coming out of the high school basketball scene. On the women's side, Wilmington was able to pick up a win against Union City on Wednesday, 63-40. Kennedy Catholic also picked up a win against Mercer, 38-29. Ben, on the Kennedy Catholic women's team, one player stood out more than the rest.
That's right, Jordan. Bella Magestro had 10 points in the defensive battle against Mercer, 41 in the big win against Sagertown. She is this week's Titantown Sports High School Athlete of the Week. Magestro, she is just the 15th girl in Mercer County history to hit 1,500 points, and it runs in the family, Jordan. Her sister Malia graduated in 2022 with 2,173 points. That's good for second all-time in Mercer County. You can see Bella in Gannon, that's a Division II, competing in the PSAC starting next season.
Yeah, a lot of great stuff. Sometimes, Ben, families just have that athletic gene where it seems like everyone that comes through the family just has that natural-born talent. But let's take it over back to the gridiron. One of the most notable alumni is Brayden Thimmons. Ethan Kurtz was able to catch up with him about his personal life.
A 3-time All-American, a 2-time PAC champion, and a back-to-back PAC Defensive Player of the Year. Edge rusher Brayden Thimmons was one of the best Westminster athletes of the 21st century and is looking to pass on that knowledge to the next generation of athletes as he was recently hired as the head coach of Kiski Area High School.
Dursey in motion, fake it to him, and Brits are going to get hit, sacked! Timmons and others there to finish him off.
Thing with Brayden as a player, obviously the physical gifts, somebody with a lot of range, a lot of power, very, very athletic guy. But the thing that made Brayden special, in my opinion, and this will obviously translate when he's as he becomes further into his coaching career, he's really smart, and that allowed him to really adapt to all the different areas that we could use him in.
Just that whole experience was awesome. You know, we had everybody bought in, coaches, players, alumni, you know, community, and the school was all committed to, you know, the journey that we were on. And, you know, to be a team that won 2 PAC championships in 1 calendar year was, you know, something that'll live on forever. And, you know, I hold that, you know, dear to my heart and something that, you know, I cherish with being from my time at Westminster.
I think the one thing that I'm really proud of that Westminster taught Brayden was that sense of belonging. What I always felt with Brayden was he never came in as a Division I guy and sort of put himself above people. The family atmosphere, the tradition, it meant a lot to him, and the unit meant a lot to him. So I think he finally felt comfortable coming to a place that A, valued him, but B, allowed him to take that leadership role. And I think it speaks to who he's going to be as a coach. You know, when you're taking over a program and you're starting, you know, the culture piece is number one. You got to get people to believe in what it is that you're trying to get done. And I think that's where he'll take Westminster and what we did here, and it'll really help him at Kiski.
You know, a lot of the time I would stand behind the offense, you know, with the D-line coach or, you know, Coach Benzel a lot of the time. And we would just talk and break down scheme and, you know, hear the way that he spoke to players, and it came naturally to me. And I think that, seeing how all those guys operated kind of was like, I could do this, and gave me confidence that it was something that I wanted to do going forward.
I think the biggest challenge for him is to always have that learning mindset. And that's a tradition at Westminster even from Coach Huey. Like, still at his seasoned guy, he'll come in and we'll talk football like we're still trying to figure it out, right? That's the biggest challenge. I think it's just now you're not just in charge of a specific group, you're in charge of the entire program, which means the players, the coaches, the boosters. The buck stops with you, and so there's an added level of responsibility that it's pretty awesome, but it can also be a lot to take. So my advice is always be yourself, do the best you can. If you're sincere, it comes across, and I think the kids will relate great to him, and they'll really enjoy being around him.
I've never been someone that thinks that, I know everything. So always taking, little bits and pieces from every single person and using that to perfect my craft. That's really what it's all about. Just making sure that you're taking care of everybody and, making sure that everybody is moving forward instead of just staying the same or moving backwards.
Titan tradition remains true for Brayden Thimmons even after his time in New Wilmington. He'll look to take those lessons he learned from Coach Benzel and Westminster to Kiski Area High School, who are looking for their first winning season since 2021. I'm Ethan Kurtz for WCN's Titan Town Sports.
Thanks, Ethan, and thank you to Brayden Thimmons and head coach Scott Benzel once again for that great segment. Brayden Thimmons, a force on the field. Jordan, no doubt, would have been a Titan Town Sports Athlete of the Week a couple of times if Titan Town Sports was around back in his day. It's not, so we're going to have to give it to someone that is pretty familiar with that title.
Yeah, I'm sure it's no surprise. This one's going to go to DJ Harrell, the men's basketball player, having himself a day against St. Vincent in the quarterfinal round. 26 points, again, 10 for 10 from the free throw line. Ben really having himself a night, helping Titans get over that hump. The St. Vincent Bearcats did have a late game push, but again, DJ Harrell's scoring ability was able to pad the Titans' scoring.
Yeah, you say he's been having a day. He's been having a season, has DJ Harrell. 50% shooting, 20 points a game. He's been a force for Westminster all season. Looking to continue that on Thursday night against Chatham in the PAC semifinal.
Absolutely, and as we move forward a little bit more, let's take it over to the Titan Town Sports Trivia for today, Ben. Switching it up, let's go. Which Westminster Hall of Fame swimmer earned an All-American nod after finishing 10th in the 200 backstroke at the 2015 NCAA Division III Championships with a school record time of 1 minute 47.78 seconds, Ben? Any guess on who this might be today?
We've got A, B, Stephen Brooks, C, Chris Hawthorne, D, Ben Gutman, Matt Burrell in the A spot. I'm going to look. I don't know the answer.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't know it either.
But you know the mantra, Jordan? It's C's get degrees. Let's see if we can get. I'm going to go with C, Chris Hawthorne.
Go C. I think I'm going to go B, Stephen Brooks, just on a hunch. Let's see what the answer is. It is B. Look at that, Ben. I think that is my second or third lucky guess of the year on Titan Town Sport Trivia, Ben. You're struggling
I've just been horrible, man. I've been from the WCN Dar Huey Trivias to this. I've just been gnarly. Dar Huey, if you can hear me and you can save me, send me a textbook or something for me, some flashcards. I don't know. Do something to get me right because I'm no good right now. We got to get something.
Trivia. But on the topic of swimming, let's take a look into the Mural Minute, one of the biggest swimming legends here at Westminster College. Welcome back to Mural Minute, everyone. I'm Jordan Tate, and this week the spotlight shines on one of Westminster's swimming legends, David Gesation. A 2000 graduate and 2008 Westminster Athletic Hall of Fame inductee, Gesation became Westminster's most recent national champion when he won the 1998 NAIA title in the 200-yard butterfly, touching in 1 minute 54.89 seconds and winning by just 0.02 of a second. He was a 4-time team MVP and a 23-time All-American, 15 in the NAIA and 8 in NCAA Division II. In 1999, he was named GLIAC Swimmer of the Year and captured 8 conference titles in his career. Gesation set 7 school records, including standout marks in the 100 and 200 butterfly and the 500 freestyle at the 2000 NCAA Championships. One of the most decorated swimmers in program history, David Gesation remains a Titan great.
David Gesation, a swimming great here at Westminster. Jack Tigback got his second straight silver medal in the PAC 200 meter, and no doubt he could be on that mural as well with David Gesation one day if he keeps that up.
Yeah, absolutely, Ben. And going back to high school basketball, one of the biggest rivalries right now in the area, Wilmington and Kennedy Catholic girls, Ben.
That's right, Jordan. They're meeting in the division, the 2A District 10 Championship on Saturday. Tom Rook caught up with both coaching staffs to talk about just what the rivalry means as two of the top teams in the state that keep butting heads against one another.
March is around the corner, and in Western Pennsylvania, that means one thing: survive in advance. When it comes to District 10 Class 2A girls basketball, 2 teams have risen above the rest. Those 2 programs are Kennedy Catholic and Wilmington Area High School. On Saturday, February 28th, these 2 teams will square off for the 2026 district title. As the top seed, Kennedy Catholic is a program that screams dynasty. The Golden Eagles will be going for their 16th straight District 10 title and 32nd in program history. Now in his 9th season leading Kennedy Catholic, Coach Justin Magestro shared what makes this run possible year after year.
We've created a culture where we hang our hat on 3 different pillars. We talk about the 3 pillars of success, and those 3 pillars are spiritual strength, academic strength, and athletic strength. And we feel when we can accomplish all 3 of those, we become great student athletes with a program that is willing to make sure that they have something to stand up to. They want to be the benchmark. They play for the name across their chest.
This Golden Eagle team is in a very unique situation. Led by 1,000-point scorers Tori Harvey and Bella Magestro, Kennedy Catholic only suits up 7 players each night. Coach Magestro touched on how special this year's group has been.
This is probably one of the most unselfish teams that I may ever coached, or they're in the top 2 or 3. They're just, anytime another girl scores, they're just so happy for each other. And that's not an easy thing to find. You go watch a lot of games, you can see how that's not always there, but you can see when you come to our games, no matter who scores, every kid on the team is so excited for them.
The Golden Eagles punched their ticket back to the D10 championship on Wednesday night with a 38-29 semifinal win over Mercer. Waiting on the other side is a familiar challenge. Kennedy will enter the district final unbeaten against Wilmington this season. Here's what Coach Magestro had to say about the Greyhounds.
As far as I'm concerned, Wilmington probably is the best team in Region 1. I mean, they've got great athletes, they've got great players, they've got a great coaching staff. They've got their senior laden.
On the opposite side of the bracket, Wilmington is led by 1,000-point senior Reese Bruckner, elite distributor Maya Jekovic, and 3-point specialist Alyssa Flick. At the helm of the Greyhounds is Coach Michael Jekovic, who spent 10 years with the boys program and is now in his 6th season leading the girls team. He shared what makes District 10 girls playoff hoops so special.
Everybody in the district knows each other, and we have so many great coaches in the district, all the way from 1A all the way up to 6A. So you're not going to sneak by anybody. So you have to be ready to go. You have to have new things in. You have to be prepared.
The Greyhounds cruised past Union City in Wednesday night's semifinal matchup, winning 63-40. Heading into the title game, Coach Jekovic weighs in on what makes the matchup with Kennedy so compelling.
Kennedy's been there and done that before multiple times. Wilmington, we've never won a district title before. So being able to put, your stamp on and your legacy with, that year and that team on the wall would be something extremely special, not only for the coaching staff, but for the girls in the team and for the entire community. The community and the girls were hungry for it.
With daughters on both sides, this father versus father coaching matchup is about more than just basketball. Number 1 seed Kennedy Catholic will face number 2 Wilmington this Saturday, February 28th for the District 10 title. For WCN's Titantown Sports, I'm Tom Rook.
That wraps up a lot of great success in the sporting world this past week, especially in the United States of America. Ben, as a Canadian fan, you want to tell me, how was it watching the Winter Hockey Olympics this year?
Well, I'll tell you, Jordan, it was you were with me for Game 7 of the World Series,
yeah,
so you know that Sunday was nothing near my worst viewing experience. I want to give a special shout-out to the U.S. women's national hockey team for a great success on Sunday on the gold medal game. The men on Sunday afternoon, Connor Hellbuck, a few great saves in there.
I think he earned himself one of the coolest nicknames of all sport, the Secretary of Defense. Obviously, the greatest save probably in Olympic history. Can't take that away from him, but nonetheless, congratulations again, like you said, not only to the men's and women's hockey teams, but to all athletes competing in the Olympics.
And to the Canadian curling team with just enough to get over the line and get that gold medal.
Ben Kelly's mental health after having to suffer the Canadian teams and the gold medal match and the Toronto Blue Jays.
Well, we made it through, and more playoff action coming up this weekend. Obviously, PAC championship action going on. PAC semifinal between Westminster and Chatham on Thursday, airtime at 6:45. Tip-off at 7. You don't want to miss that one.
Absolutely, Ben, and I think that just about wraps it up for us today. As always, Jordan Tate, Ben Kelly, thank you again for tuning in here. We'll see you next week, Titantown Sports.
I'm Silvio Corso, an environmental science major. Thank you for watching Titantown Sports. See you next week.